Welcome to Order of Operations by Circling Terms. We're going to go over how to simplify expressions like this one. So in order to simplify this expression, we're going to have 4 steps. The first step is going to be to rewrite it without subtraction. So instead of 4 minus 6, I can write 4. And this minus 6 actually gets pushed over, and I put a plus in front. So instead of 4 minus 6, I have 4 plus a negative 6. And then I keep writing my expression, times 2 plus negative 1. All right, we have rewritten it without subtraction. It means exactly the same thing. You can always replace minus with adding the opposite. Our next step is to circle the terms. Terms are separated by plus signs. Terms are quantities that are being added together. So 4 is a term. It's separated from the rest of this expression by a plus sign. And right after the plus sign, we start a new term. So negative 6 times 2 is a term, separated from the 4 by a plus sign. And then we have our last term, negative 1, which is separated from the rest of the expression by a plus sign. All right, that's step 2. Now we're going to go to step 3. Simplify every term. Now that you've circled your terms, you've told yourself what math you need to do. You need to do the math that's in the circles. This first term is fully simplified, so we'll leave it as 4. Negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. Negative 1 is fully simplified, so it stays negative 1. And our last step is to add our terms together. We always do this absolutely last. Please do not add any terms together until they are fully simplified. So we get 4. I'm going to add the negative 12 plus the negative 1 to get a negative 13. 4 plus negative 13, their opposite signs are going to eliminate. I had more negative 1s, so my answer is going to be negative. So my answer is negative 9. Let's try it again. All right, first step. We're going to rewrite it without subtraction. So I'm going to start at the beginning of the expression. I actually don't care for this division symbol either, so I'm going to rewrite it without that as well. So we've got negative 3 plus, instead of 9 divided by negative 3, I'm going to have 9 over negative 3. It means the same thing. And then I'm going to push that minus 2 over to the right, making it a negative 2, and put a plus in front of it. So 9 divided by negative 3 plus negative 2 times negative 4. All right, now that we've rewritten it, it is easier to circle our terms. All of our terms are now separated by a plus sign because we got rid of subtraction. So we're going to start at the beginning of our expression. After I get another color pen. Here we go. So I've got negative 3. That is one term separated from the rest of the expression by the plus sign. Right after the plus sign, I've got 9 divided by negative 3. That is my second term. There's my first term. There's the plus sign. There's my second term. All right, right after that plus sign, I've got my third term, negative 2 times negative 4. When you're done circling terms, the only thing outside of the circles should be plus signs. All the numbers, all the operators, those should be inside the circles. So now we're ready for simplifying each term. Negative 3 is fully simplified. 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. Plus negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. All right, we simplified every term, so it's just one number. And now we are ready for our last step, to add. Always add your terms together last. So negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 combined with a positive 8, they're going to eliminate each other. My answer is positive because I started with more positive ones. So our answer is 2. All right, next problem. We got 6 minus a negative 2 plus 5 times negative 2 minus 6. All right, so let's get rid of that subtraction. I'm going to push that minus a negative 2 over and put a plus in front of it. Plus 5 times negative 2, that doesn't change. Instead of minus 6, I'm going to push the minus 6 over and put a plus in front of it. All right, so we've changed subtraction to adding a negative, but I end up with a negative 2. That's okay. The negative 2 is just the opposite of negative 2, which is a positive 2. So 6 plus 2 plus 5 times negative 2 plus negative 6 is our expression without any subtraction. If you ever have two negative signs on one number, you always want to simplify that. All right, we are ready to circle our terms. 6 is a term, separated by that plus sign from the 2. All right, after the plus sign, we have 2 is a term, separated from the 5 by a plus sign. 5 times negative 2 is a term. There's no plus sign between the 5 and the negative 2, so that's all one term. And then our last term is negative 6. All right, our next step says that we should simplify each term. 6 is fully simplified, 2 is fully simplified, 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, and negative 6 is fully simplified. So, all of our terms are fully simplified. It is time to add our terms together. Now, you may have noticed, and I noticed, that first term and the last term are opposites. So 6 positive ones, 6 negative ones, they're going to eliminate each other. So I'm going to do that first. When it's all addition, you can combine the terms in any order you want. Make it easy for yourself. 2 plus negative 10, that's going to give me negative 8. 10 negative ones, 2 positive ones, negative 8. All right, next problem. Rewrite the expression without subtraction. And again, I'm going to write it without this division symbol either. Algebra, order of operations, all are much easier if we rewrite it as a fraction. So instead of 20 divided by negative 4, 20 over negative 4. Plus 2 times negative 5, that doesn't change. But instead of minus 7, plus a negative 7. So that minus sign becomes a negative sign. It doesn't turn into a plus sign. Don't ever change a minus sign into a plus sign. That's always wrong. All right, time to circle the terms. So our first term is 20 divided by negative 4. Ends at the plus sign. Right after the plus sign, we start our next term, 2 times negative 5. And then our last term is negative 7. All right, now that you've circled the terms, you need to simplify each term. You've circled the math you need to do. 20 divided by negative 4 is negative 5. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And my last term is negative 7. Okay, all your terms are simplified down to one number. It is time to add your terms together. So we're going to combine all these negative ones together. I think I'm going to add the negative 5 and the negative 7, just because that's easier for me. So negative 5 plus negative 7 is negative 12. 5 negative ones, 7 negative ones, 12 negative ones altogether, plus 10 negative ones for a total of 22 negative ones, or negative 22. All right, this one's a little different, but we're going to do the same steps. So the first thing we're going to do is rewrite the expression without subtraction. So I have 5 times, instead of 2 minus 6, I'm going to write 2, push that minus sign over, and put a plus in front, so 2 plus a negative 6. Plus 6, instead of divided by 2, over negative 2. And minus a negative 4, I'm going to rewrite that as plus 4. All right, so I've rewritten it without subtraction. It's time to circle my terms, and this is where things get a little different. So normally I would stop at the plus sign, but I'm not going to do that here. This plus sign does not separate two terms because of the parentheses. The whole point of these parentheses is to say this is a quantity. 2 minus 6 is a quantity altogether. Don't break it up. And because of that, our first term is actually going to be 5 times the quantity 2 plus negative 6. That whole thing is one term. So be careful with that. Plus signs always separate terms unless that plus sign is inside parentheses. All right. So then after the plus sign, we've got 6 divided by negative 2. That is a term. And then after that plus sign, 4. So we have 3 terms in this expression. And our next step is to simplify our terms. So 3 terms to simplify. That first term is going to take us a couple of steps because it's got a lot going on. So I'm going to start inside the parentheses. That's the only part of PEMDAS I like. Start in the parentheses, the grouping symbols. So 2 plus negative 6 is going to be negative 4 plus 6 divided by negative 2, negative 3. And that 4 was already fully simplified. So that first term still needs a little bit of work. So 5 times negative 4 gives us negative 20. So negative 20 plus negative 3 plus 4. Now, only now, all my terms are simplified and I can add these 3 terms together. I'm going to add the 3 plus the 4, negative 3 plus the 4, because I know that's just a 1. You can add in any order you want because adding is commutative. So negative 20 plus positive 1 gives me an answer of negative 19. That was our adding last. Whoops, sorry about that. All right, one more. We're going to rewrite this expression without subtraction. So we got 3 plus 2 times, that negative 3, that's not a minus sign, but the minus 7 is. Push the minus 7 over, put a plus in front of it, and we get negative 3 plus negative 7. There's a minus 4, push that over, put a plus in front of it, so it's plus a negative 4, times 3, plus 9, and there's that division symbol. So instead of 9 divided by negative 3, 9 over negative 3. Okay, I've rewritten it without subtraction, and now I'm going to circle my terms. 3 is a term all by itself, ends at that plus sign. Notice here I've got that plus sign inside parentheses again, so I'm not going to stop after the negative 3. I'm going to keep going until I get to the end of the parentheses. Then I'm going to start after the plus sign. Negative 4 times 3 is a term. And then my very last term is 9 over negative 3. Notice the only thing that's not circled are the plus signs that are not in parentheses. Everything else is inside a term. Okay, time to simplify my terms. This first term, fully simplified already. It's just a 3, but I'm going to bring it with me. And the second term, I'm going to do what's in the parentheses first. Negative 3 plus negative 7 is negative 10. Third term, negative 4 times positive 3 is negative 12. And last term, 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. All right, they're not fully simplified yet, so I'm going to do one more step. Keep bringing everything with you. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. Bring the 12, bring the negative 3. Get in the habit of showing your work this way. It's going to be better in the long run. Okay, now I can add. All my terms are simplified. And I noticed that this problem is kind of similar to a previous problem we had, and that the first and the last terms are opposites. So positive 3 and negative 3 eliminate each other. They make a 0 because they have the same quantity, one positive, one negative. So that means I can just add the middle 2 terms together, and negative 20 plus negative 12 is going to give me negative 32. All right, thank you very much.